thoughts on Scream 5, my spoiler review live from my house, you know. Let me turn on the comments so I can read what you guys are saying. So this movie, is the only movie that I saw in theaters from the series. Only one. And I am so glad that I did, because it is just absolutely amazing. I love this movie. I love what it did. I love this new cast. And just for those of you who don't know, there will be spoilers for this video if you didn't read the title. So just, if you don't like spoilers, I'm sorry, but I have to do this. My Scream 5 ranking video is coming. My Scream 5 movie ranking video and my Ghostface ranking is coming soon, as soon as I can get them out. But I'm just gonna wait for more people to get in, and we'll get started. So while I'm waiting, anybody have any questions or anything they want to ask me? Nothing. You know, I guess I can just get more people in as I go along. So the movie starts off with a young lady named Tara, played by Jenna Ortega, and she's home alone. She gets a call from this random guy who says that he's from her mom's group, some kind of group that her mom's a part of. And they start talking about horror movies. And so the mom's friend ends up revealing himself as Ghostface. Like, he changes his voice, the voice changer clicks on, and it's Ghostface. Which, I absolutely love this opening scene. I'm a huge fan of Jenna Ortega, so watching her in this movie was really good for me. This opening scene is easily the best, I think the best opening scene of the entire franchise, which is saying a lot. I absolutely love what this movie did, where it went. So this movie was like a big thing for me, but they did kill off Dewey. So that's like a big thing for me. Like a big drawback of this movie is that there's no more Dewey after this. So one of Tara's friends calls her older sister Sam and is like, hey, you need to get home. Sarah was attacked. She's gonna survive, but she was attacked and you need to come home. And so her and her boyfriend Richie go back home, like go back to Woodsboro, and they meet the kid who called, which is Wes, Hicks, Judy from the first movie's son. Judy from part 4 is her son, Wes. And so, like, they give, like, a lot of explanations to how Sam knows these kids. Like, oh yeah, I used to babysit them or something like that. But, I mean, if it's her sister's friends, she's gonna know them anyways. So, anyways, so they get there, and, Richie meets Tara for the first time, and Richie's actually the killer. And so I kind of saw it coming a little bit after that first time that he met her, because he walks over, hey, I'm Richie, I'm so sorry this happened to, and he just stopped himself. Which is, I think, like, it's either a big red flag, or, like, he's genuinely, like, he can't say it, like, he can't bring himself to say it. So, either way, it's kind of a red flag, but, so, Sam and Tara talk for a little bit without anybody else in the room, and then Sam goes to the cafeteria or something like that, cause, like, she had fallen asleep, everybody else left, so she wakes up, her boyfriend's still in like a little, one of those little chairs by Tara's hospital bed, and she basically says, I'm gonna go get something to eat. And while she's in there, Ghostface calls her and he says, I know your little secret. Well, it turns out she's Billy Loomis's daughter. Like, the mom, her mom had cheated on her dad with Billy Loomis in high school and had Sam. And then years later, of course, Tara was born. And so, like, Sam goes and tells Tara because she hadn't told her after 9 years. She still hadn't told her. And the two, Tara basically screams at her to get the out. And so she enlists the help of Dewey, who's like, no, I can't help you. I'm retired. I don't want to go through this again, but I will give you the rules to survive a stab movie. So, first of all, always suspect the love interest, he says. I don't remember the other 2 rules, but you know, he gives 3 rules to survive the stab movies. So, it's revealed that him and Gail are now divorced or separated. I don't know. He's one or the other. I don't know. It doesn't exactly say, but he calls Sydney and is like, hey, do you have a gun? And like, don't come back here, whatever. And then he texts Gail. He texts her saying, don't come back, and like sends her a little smiley face. And that actually got a laugh out of me. Like, what Dewey says after that, he's like, oh, I probably shouldn't have put the smiley face. So Sam's attacked in the hospital, like before she goes and talks to Dewey, she's attacked in the hospital after that phone call. And Richie's excuse for not being there when that happens was so funny. Like, so Judy, who's now the sheriff, is like, okay, well, where were you two? Tara's girlfriend, Amber, is like, oh, I was or no, Judy already knows where Amber was because she was interrogating her about it. And then, I think Amber turns to Richie, he's like, hey, where were you? And he's like, oh, I was watching Netflix. You actually see him watching, like, the stab movies on Netflix before that. But it's just funny. Because nobody's going to believe that. And then, like, Amber and Richie are asked to leave the room. Amber's just, come on, Netflix, let's go. Which, that line actually got a laugh out of me right there. And I love these movies, so it was like a really good thing for me. But anyways, so Richie goes to stay with Tara in the hospital after this, after they have a little discussion about remakes and sequels, also known as requels, which is what they call it in this movie. And like, oh yeah, and then Randy has a niece and a nephew, and like, his niece is the one going through it, like, it's a requel, oh my god, it's a requel. And like, she walks you through all that, and it's like, you can't make another sequel, you can't remake it, so you kind of have to do both. And her little monologue there, I was just sitting there laughing to myself the whole time, because she's talking about, like, these are the movies that maybe your parents made you watch when you were 10, and, like, they spawned your love for horror movies, and that was me. Like, Scream is what gave me my love for horror movies, and, like, it's awesome. Like, I absolutely love this movie, and so it was really good to see, like, that same camaraderie between the kids. Like, they can be sitting there pointing each other out as the killer the whole time, and then and all be friends, which I love. And I actually missed one of the kills. I missed the Vince kill because I got up to go to the bathroom. But, like, okay, so while they're having that little discussion, Tara's still in the hospital because she was stabbed like 7 times and somehow survived that. I have no idea how. But, so Richie goes to see Sam in the hospital after that, and they're both attacked. And like Sam calls Richie's phone, and the killer just turns on his little voice changer, and it's like he's not here right now, and like you have to choose who dies, either your sister or your boyfriend. And she's acting like she can't make the decision, and then Ghostface is like, you can't even make the selfless decision to kill. No, you can't even make the selfless decision to kill your boyfriend to save your sister. No, to save a life. And she's like, well, maybe I'm just buying some time. And then her and Dewey get off the elevator. Dewey shoots Ghostface like 5 or 6 times, which Dewey has decided to help now. And so, they actually kill off Dewey in the scene. Because, like, he gets a knife to the chest, a knife to the back, and then the killer just rips, which I thought was great. Like any gore in a Scream movie, sign me up. I love the gore in these movies. And so, I was a little bummed out that it was Dewey that died, because it was a legacy cast member, and I just grew up watching him kind of change throughout the movies, and I was just sad to see him go. But the death scene does make up for it. So then Sydney shows up at the hospital, which is pretty much her first appearance in this movie other than that phone call, which probably about like an hour into it, it's a little late to be bringing Sydney in. It's probably even later than an hour into it. This movie is like an hour and 50-something minutes, and she's kind of like, she shows up for like the last half hour maybe, at the most. And I actually love that. I love that they didn't overuse Sydney like they do in the other movies. So, Sydney shows up, and she's like, hey, I know you're Billy's daughter. I've been through this. I want you to help me kill him. And so, there's like a party going on at Amber's house. Everybody's there. And there's this one character, Liv, who is like, everybody suspects of being the killer. And so, like, Richie goes down to the basement to get some beer. And, like, as he's coming back upstairs, the character Liv is like, I'm not the killer. Amber pulls a gun and says, I know, and just blows her brains all over the wall. Which, I think that was a really creative kill, and a really creative way to, like, reveal Amber as the killer. And, like, that amount of gore in a horror movie, like, I love. So, yeah. So Sydney shows up at the house and is like, hey, we need to get out of here. You have 5 seconds to show yourself, killer or not, and if you don't show up, and if you try and come out after that, I am going to shoot you, pretty much. And she gets a phone call. Like, she already knows that Amber's the killer because, like, so Sydney goes up at the house. Amber walks out like, oh my god, help me. And they don't believe her. She just shoots Gale, which doesn't kill her. So Richie is eventually revealed as the second killer. And they go through their whole motive of, like, they're both stab fanatics, which I absolutely loved. And I thought it was great what they did with that. Like, these two stab fanatics are disappointed with the 8th movie, so they're going to give them more to make the movie about. Which I thought was great. And, so, Amber is the one who killed Dewey, of course. And so, like, it was really satisfying to see her character's death scene when I love Dewey, like, with all my heart, I absolutely loved his killer's death scene. Because, Sydney, or it might have been Gale, breaks a glass bottle, and it's like a vodka bottle. And so this little girl gets vodka all over her face. And then, like, as she has the bottle of vodka smashed over her face, she falls back into the stove, turning it on. And then Gale has, like, a gun pulled on her, and she's just like, no, please don't. I'm sorry about Dewey. You. Boom, 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 boom. she falls back into the onto the stove, is set on fire, and so like you think that's the end of her, but it's not. So Richie then attacks Sam, and then Sam just grabs Ghostface's knife and just like through there. Oh yeah, and Wes died. I forgot to mention that. Judy and Wes are both dead by this point. They were both killed pretty close in time together. And so now it's just Sam, Richie, the Randy's niece and nephew, which I think is Chad and Mindy, and then Tara, Sydney, and Gail, I think, are the only ones left. So, so Sam grabs the knife, grabs an extra knife, stabs Richie through the mouth like that, like, and she's like, don't, with the daughter of a serial killer or something like that, which I thought that was like one of the best lines ever in this entire series. And so, Richie, she takes the knife out of his mouth, stabs him like a whole lot, like at least 10 to 20 times, and that finally kills him. But Amber is still alive. With those burns all over her face, she comes running at them, and then you hear a gunshot. It was Tara, and she killed Amber, and she's like, I still prefer the Babadook, and like stuff like that. Which, she talked about that in the first scene, and like the killer's like, have you seen Stab? And she's like, well, I'm more of an elevated horror fan. I like the Babadook, and like, and so she kills Amber, and she's like, I still prefer the Babadook, and like, which I thought was great. So yeah, now everybody's okay. Everybody's gonna survive, and so Tara and Sam are both gonna be taken to the hospital. So Tara goes and talks to Sydney and Gail one last time before she goes to the hospital, and she's like, so Miss Weathers, what are you gonna write about? And she goes, definitely not this. I think I'm gonna write about a sweet man who risked his life to save everybody. And I love that, the fact that she's still gonna like write about Dewey, like, and how courageous he was, you know. Which I absolutely love this ending too. And it just said for Wes at the end, which really got my heart, you know. I love the fact that they dedicated it to Wes, and so yeah, that's the Scream 5 spoiler review. Have you guys seen it? What do you think about it? Whatever you think, comment down below. Let me know, and I'll see you guys next time.